Hello, this is Minister J.E. Johnson, um, titled The Abolition Movement. I wrote this years ago, right before a writers' conference, to encourage writers and poets and those that write novels and have various gifts in the literature field to use their gift through this abolition movement uh, for the prosperity and edification of the church. And it goes like this: God appeared unto me in a dream. I asked him, God, where am I? He said, you're in the Statue of Liberty. I stepped forward and looked out the Liberty's head. Before I woke, this is what God said. Read Galatians chapter 5, verse 1. I walked over to my Bible and was literally stunned. It read, Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ has made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. There are so many people who are in bondage today, guilty and not guilty, and are being wrongfully held. The tactic is spiritual. And if you think that slavery was birthed from any other source, you are greatly mistaken. The slavery against blacks in the history of our nation is quite different than slavery in our nation today, but it still comes from the same source and is designed for a very similar purpose. I only raised the slavery against blacks to use the anti-slavery and abolition movement's tactics against the tactics of America's United States present-day slavery. As I stand among so many writers, poets, novelists, speakers, and leaders, I have to inform you that you can be and will be powerful instruments that God will use against injustice. We can see liberty throughout all our land, the Statue of Liberty, the bell, and that money we hold in our hand. It says, in God we trust, but that statement has long been a lie. The opposition to slavery entered a more vigorous stage in the year 1831. The opening attack came from a pen held by William Lloyd Garrison of Massachusetts. The first issue of his paper, called The Liberator, was published January 1st, 1831. His demands in The Liberator for action caused many men and women to join the anti-slavery movement. His pen moved Sarah and Angelina Grimke to free their slaves, leave South Carolina, move to Philadelphia, become Quakers, and devote their whole lives to the anti-slavery movement. As writers, you are gifted individuals who are able to shift the entire course of our American nation. When we look back upon the leaders of our previous generations, we see what the gifts of those powerful preachers and speakers can do. When our children and grandchildren in the future look back upon the leaders of today, give them the inspiration they need to lead in their time as they look back to you. As the abolition movement gained momentum in the 1800s, some well-known lecturers and writers joined its membership. Lucretia Mott lectured against slavery, just speaking at any place she could find an audience. Theodore Parker was a powerful preacher in his day who became a leader in the abolition movement. The Quaker poet, John Greenleaf Whittier, wrote verses against slavery. Ralph Waldo Emerson, James Russell Lowell, and Wendell Phillips all lectured and wrote to abolish slavery. The pen is more effective than weapons of mass destruction, and yet the value of a pen is averaged at $3 and less, while the nation spends billions of our dollars on a weapon that only makes more of a mess. In the Holy Bible, in Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 18, it says, wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroys much good. One of the most phenomenal effects of writing happened in the year of 1852 when Harriet Beecher Stowe published Uncle Tom's Cabin. This novel about slavery inflamed the emotions of many people in the North who had been blind to the distortions of slavery. This book is known as one of the most influential novels in all of history. It ignited many in the abolition movement. So we have another form of slavery in our American United States country today. And with these great men and women who have stood strong in the past, we now will stand today and in our future. We will fight this new form of slavery with a new abolition movement and will join its membership as writers, poets, speakers, preachers, and leaders. I'll say again that the tactic is spiritual, and if you think that slavery was birthed from any other source, you are greatly mistaken. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. The enemy of our souls is the devil, and his tactic, which has birthed this new slavery in the United States of America, is an intelligent one. God created man in his image and likeness, which means there is a certain order that mankind must function in to succeed. He created Adam, then Eve was created to be his helper. Then the two of them had children. That is the order mankind must function in. Man was given rule and headship over his family. The woman is not created unequally or less than the man. Her role is just different. The only reason why Satan tempted Eve to eat from the forbidden tree is because he knew Eve was Adam's weakness. He knew he could use Eve to get Adam to eat from the tree. Satan could not cause the order of mankind to be thrown out of order by getting Eve to eat. Adam, who was given rule and headship, had to eat. And this habitual tactic has been Satan's device upon many generations. When you look at the United States of America today, you will not see the vast majority of its homes absent of their mothers. You will look upon them and easily recognize that they are absent of their fathers. Satan knows that if he removes the man from the household, then the order of that house will be thrown into turmoil. It is the very absence of the heads of our households in this country that have been brought into slavery that played a major role in our recession. But there is good news, because God, who appeared unto me in a dream and brought me into the statue of liberty, has seen what has been done. God knows that Satan is using the government to remove men from their homes, putting unfair sentences on them. He knows that our children are being taken away from us and has made a promise to those who believe. God says in Ezekiel chapter 36 that the land which is no longer inhabited will shoot forth its fruit again, because the people are coming back home. I will multiply men upon you, all the house of Israel, all of it, and the cities shall be inhabited and the ruins rebuilt. I will make you inhabited as in former times, and do better for you than at your beginnings. No more shall you be no more shall you be bereaved of your children. This nation is now known for devouring its men and taking away their children. But God says in this chapter that his children are about to come home from exile, from slavery, and from bondage. I, the Lord, have spoken it and will do it. Before the abolition movement, there were very few who stood up against slavery. The people were making a great profit off of slaves, just as they are making a profit today off of imprisoning its citizens. But the movement caused many to stand up against it, and it all started from the stroke of a pen.